Full driving number 20 Spitzer with Rockdale Ilinden 2, Marconi Stallions. Rockdale Ilinden FC would like to thank each of its partners for their support in 2025. Committed to reliability. Goal partners, PCFS, logistics for all your freight forwarding needs. Simcoe Partners, station and advisory services. Marco Polo Foods, fine foods from across the sea. Dual core packaging. Pino's Dolce Vita Fine Foods, NPL Customs and Compliance, Lad Group, Silver Sponsors, Lane Simmons and George, Sydney White Building Supplies, SCIS Property Group, Sydney Civil, Bella Transport, EMC Civil, Supervision Australia, GMP Law Solicitors and Barristers, Riverosky Carrier Living and Warehouse, Synergia Group, Kenny Constructions, Kenneth Hub Rockdale, Unbreakable Cuts, Space Street, Brighton Sands, Ricks Group, Specialist Contracting, Niji Sushi Bar, Jim Wade Constructions, Audrey Australia, Level 3 Developers, Vortex Property Group, East to West Bank Services, Russia Scaffolding, H2 Willis, Rockdale, William Roberts Lawyers, PA Architecture, Tempe Tires, Chinese Cocktails and Back Row West, At4 Services, B&B Bricklaying, Direct Inject, Mark Consulting, Fruit Easy, Walker Cranes, Club Supplies, KSD Buses, AVA Saudi Visual, and our 325 apparel partner Stano. We also wish to thank all our ground signage holders as well. Support those who support Rockdale.
jump down and meet someone quickly. Do you want to do? Have you done sound check yet? Check sound. All good. Yeah. All good. Okay. Beautiful. I'll just. Yeah. It'll be 2 seconds. Yeah, it's better. And it even pretends to cover you from the rain as well.
Today's starting lineup so
well, except that
Rockdale Ilinden, number 1, Nick Soros. Number 14, Ray George. Number 4, James Nicholas. Number 5, Julius Green.
Oh, good, thank you.
other than the fact
Blake Wishuta.
I won't be here long,
Number
don't
6,
worry.
Isaac Denso. Number 10, Brendan Chilaki. Number 11, Lachlan Constable. Number 9, Lily Nudger. Number 7, Alex Jurasek.
Yeah, that would be right.
Number 23, Oliver Puffett.
I love your notes.
Substitute bench.
That's
Number
it.
20,
Condensed.
Ronan
Get it
Golfgrew.
all in.
17, Ray Ovens. Number 2, Hunt Elliott. 24, Ali Akla.
You somewhere
88, Christmas Day. 18, Jordan Chris.
Yeah,
Brown.
I'm freelancing at 10.
Marconi starting lineups as follows. Number 10, Marco Yesi. Number 14, Jake True.
I know.
Number 17, Damien Chikanis. Number 18, George Daniel. Number 23, Brandon Vella. Number 1, James Hilton. Number 2, Tyro Burley. Number 4, Anton Dulanovich. Number 5, Lockie Griffiths. Number 7, Franco Mayer. Number 8,
Not here.
James Bayless. The substitute benches. Number 3, Cameron Windus. Number 9, Carl Cementi. Number 12, Julian Long. Number 20, Patrick Williams. 22, Alexander Gazanovic. Number 24, Mate Tosin. Partners for their support in 2025. Major partner, NSW Transport, committed to reliability. Sole partners, PCSC Logistics, for all your freight forwarding needs. Simlico Partners, taxation and advisory services. Marco Polo Foods, fine foods from across the sea. Fuel Packaging, Pino's Culture Vita Fine Foods. NPL Customs and Compliance. Land Group. Silver sponsors, Lang & Centre St George. Sydney Wide Building Supplies, SCOS Property Group, Sydney Civil, Bella Transport, MC Civil, Supermoon Australia, GMP Law Solicitors and Barristers, Riverosky Catering Equipment Warehouse, City View Group, Kenny Constructions, Kevin Sub Rocktown, Unbreakable Cuts, Bay Street Primer Sands, Rix Group, Specialist Contract, Nietzsche Sushi Bar, Zoom Wave Constructions, Broadview Australia, Level 33 Developers, Vortex Property Group, East to West Land Services, Russia Scaffolding, HT Wheels, Broad Air, William Roberts Lawyers, VA Architecture, Tempe Tyres, Chinese Cocktails, Back Row West, At Call Services, B&B Bricklaying, Direct Jet, Mar Consulting, Fruit Easy, Walker Cranes, and our club suppliers, KSD Buses, AVA Studio Visual, 2025 Apparel Partners, Stano, We also wish to thank all of our ground signing shopmen as well. Support those who support Rockdale.
It's alright.
I'm going to stand behind the bench.
Yeah, so am I. I'm going to come down. Did you watch the games last year when Marconi played Rockdale?
Yeah. Like the final?
Yeah.
I think
That's it. Yeah, that's my job. But you remember the game? What do you reckon the score for this today? 2-1 that. 2-1 Marconi.
No.
Alright. You're not very confident with the draw, right? Dragon, I wouldn't say AFL. You don't like AFL? Good right now? It's a good start. A good start. A few more years, boys, you grow on that one. This took me about 15 years to go. Set it forward, 36. I know that you put it in the starter, you put it in dirt, and you dry. And when you want to part, you put it in dirt. Oh, it's hard. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm not very good at that. No, I don't drive.
He's 60 in high school.
I just finished high school.
He's 60.
How old are you? 9.
I'm turning 9.
Who's the best player for Rockdale?
Euro.
Crazy. Shit, bro. What are you going to say? Come on, I need to respond. Give me some. You know he was good? You know Bay and Tony? Yeah, he's there. 1v2. What, 2 of him and 1 of me? Okay.
2 of you just him.
Yeah, you're probably right, man. He's pretty good at it.
I bet he's saying he's shit.
No, he's good. Oh. Is that the committee?
I bet he got it.
No, we're not the commentators. I don't think we're allowed to stand here because the commentators don't hear our voice.
How long till you're back, Bob? How long till you're back? Next week? Ripper. Hey, very very good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us after what has been a stunning Sydney Saturday. And as the sun sets, the lights will shine brightest at the Ilinden Sports Centre. The two sides who met at Combank Stadium in September's grand final renew their rivalry at Rockdale Ilinden versus the Marconi Stallions. Rockdale's record-breaking points tally not met with a flowing grand final to remember that day, and Marconi's joy now replaced with the thoughts of what might have been had they started the season as brightly as they finished it. And so both meet today with reason to dream of more silverware in 2025, mixed with the weight of expectation set by performances past. No trophies handed out today, but as Marconi know all too well, drop points here mean more chasing to do through the cold, fixture congested winter. Again, welcome to Football New South Wales coverage of Rockdale Ilinden versus the Marconi Stallions in a rematch of the 2024 grand final. Alex Molchanoff is my name, excited to bring you all the action from what has been the most anticipated fixture of the competition's early season. And let's go to the team news for it. Rockdale make two changes from the side that trailed against St George FC a week ago before scoring in the 86th and 91st minute to claim all 3 points at Barton Park. Nick Soros resumes in goal behind a back four of Braden Sorge, who's in for Hunter Elliott today, James Nikolovsky partnering Blake Rasciuto in the heart of defence, and Giorgio Speranza at left back. Through the midfield, it looks as though Tani Nikas has gone to a four. Ollie Pufflet on the right, Lachlan Constable in off the left, with Brendan Chalakian and Isaac Danzo in a two-man central midfield behind Alec Jurasiewski and Moody Dejar. For Marconi, it wasn't broken, so Peter Seguenes has not fixed it. No changes from the 2-0 win over Mount Druittstown Rangers a week ago. James Hilton resumes in goal behind the back four of Tyron Burney. Lockie Griffiths, the once Rockdale player, in fact just last season, returns here for the first time since his move to the Stallions. He partners Anton Mlinaric in the heart of defence again today with George Daniel, the left back. Midfield four as well for Marconi and Peter Seguenes. Jake True off the left, Franco Meyer off the right, Brandon Vella and James Bayliss through the middle, with Damien Seguenes fresh off a first goal back in Marconi colours, alongside the captain and stalwart Marko Jesic. Well, Marconi, the only team Rockdale failed to beat in the league last year, although they did manage a 2-2 draw here almost exactly a year ago today. Marconi haven't won here in their past 3 visits, so there's a little carrot for them to chase as well today. To prove their good run of form against the Premiers in the last year has been anything but a fluke. Speaking of carrots, Rockdale will have one eye on the Australian Championship at the end of the year. Marconi's spot in that competition already secure, of course, with one of the 8 foundation clubs. With nothing more to put a little dent in their rivals' hopes of playing on the national stage once more. So here we go, the scene is set, the sun creeping towards the horizon here in the south of Sydney. Gorgeous conditions for football, just over 23 degrees at kickoff. Craig Fisher's done the last 2 of these games at the Ilinden Sports Centre. He's here again today.
Channel 1 is
the win against Marconi. He officiated. Still found time to send off David Prasevich, the goalkeeper that day. We'll be hoping that today is a little bit quieter. So it's Rockdale in their red and black, kicking from right to left to start this first half. Marconi resuming in sky blue, colour in which they won their 2012 championship, last before their relegation, and then re-promotion to the top flight. The committee are singing away on the western sides of the Ilinden Sports Centre, and their team have got us underway. Both these sides coming in unbeaten, but perhaps not performing to the standards coaches would have liked to start the season. That 30 rounds give you a lot of time to make ground up. As we mentioned in the pre-game, Marconi won't want to be doing that. Well, they showed they had all the talent of their premiership rivals. Just gave themselves a little bit too much to do in the back half of the year. Anton Mlinaric, who was terrific in his first season at the club. A new defensive partner next to him. Cameron Windus back on the bench today for Peter Seguenes. Reliably informed by Dom Costanzo, he wants to be wants to be back next week. Whether the coach will let him is another story. I've missed a little bit of his pizzazz. He's been ably replaced by Jake True in his first 2 games in Marconi colours after the move up from Wollongong in the off-season. Actually living with Tembo Muatamalo in Sydney's East of Apia Leichhardt. That'll be a nice little battle to watch come the Derby d'Italia in April. For now, Marconi's focus firmly on this match. Blake Risciuto again asked to play in the heart of defence today. And there are appeals for the offside flag, which was slow in coming, but eventually arrived. Aaron Block is the assistant on the near side today. Blake Sanchez-Cruz on the far. And Ayad Nagy, who had a testy time in the under-20s game that preceded this one, is out of the firing line, at least somewhat, as the 4th official. A couple of free kicks going Marconi's way in the early stages. Alex Molchanoff with you for the match of round 3 in the NPL New South Wales men's. Final fixture of Saturday's action. A couple of games to come tomorrow. Both teams knowing that points picked up here could prove very, very crucial come the end of the year. Giorgio Speranza winning a premiership. He's done that. Got a number of different clubs now. Back where he started his NPL New South Wales career more than a decade ago. Lockie Constable brought into the starting lineup today. Playing it wide for Ollie Pufflet, who's got into the area, and Urushevsky with a rare in touch as the ball fell to him inside the 18-yard box. And already Anton Mlinaric is giving him plenty of attention off and on the ball. Chalakian smothered by 3 players as he tried to turn. The ball played hopefully forward towards Sekenes, who has hit the ground running. 3 years out of the game through a drug suspension. Under Father Peter. And now Craig Fisher is being called over by the assistant on the far side, Blake Sanchez-Cruz, I think because of the attention that Urusevsky was receiving off the ball in the early stages. Mlinaric was making a point of letting Rockdale's talisman know he was there, and Craig Fisher says free kick Rockdale. So he's brought it back quite a way, but his assistant has spotted something he didn't initially. And I have to say, from this neutral's view, it's a very good piece of refereeing. If it is a pre-construed play, to try and affect the man who's been the player of the competition the last 2 seasons, has been picked up on very early by the officials. It's still Craig Fisher is wanting to have discussions around what was happening there. Rusevsky went to ground holding the back of his legs, almost as though to draw attention to it. The contact wasn't heavy in nature, it was just completely off the ball and unnecessary. And so the Baker has a chance to line up from a set piece for the first time as the clock ticks towards the 5-minute mark. For in a patiently placed wall by James Hilton. He's got a very good record in this fixture. Hasn't conceded in more than 3 hours of it. Urusevsky, long way out, tried to go under the wall. Deflection comes straight back to him and then ricochets off Mlinaric and high into the sky. Not really dealt with by Marconi though. Chance for Najar to line up. Well, it's going to be difficult from that tight angle, but a first shot in anger of this grand final rematch. Marconi 3-0 winners on that day in September. Confirmed what many had suspected, that they were the form team of the competition towards the back end of it. Rockdale falling in that grand final and the Waratah Cup final last year to Apia Leichhardt, so the 3 trophies available ending up in 3 different locations. Not that that's particularly unusual in New South Wales, it must be said. Last club to even claim 2 of them was Sydney Olympic back in 2018. Lots of appeals for handball, and then Jesic is flagged for being in an offside position. Rockdale might have just received a little let off there. Players stopped a long way before that whistle was blown, and Jesic, had he been a step or two less sprightly, may have found himself one-on-one with a goalkeeper and with Sekenis in support. Not to be, but it's the visitors who've started, I'd say, with a more intent. Prosciutto looking for a ball in behind for the running power of Pufflet. Such a terrific athlete. He and Jake True, both in the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy system, brought back together in different colours on the far side this afternoon, and Ollie Pufflet just leaving his mark on the rather smaller George Daniel. Knows all the tricks, though, that Marconi left back was player of the season in that position for this commentator, certainly. First year with the club after the move from the Central Coast Mariners. This Tyrone Burney, another of Marconi's off-season signings, hasn't missed a minute yet, and Jesic once again in his haste getting off the shoulder has just found himself straying offside a couple of times inside the opening 10 minutes. Game that's simmering nicely to the boil. Prosciutto with so many years of experience at this club, player moving into Southeast Asia and returning to the club. Key part of the premiership run last year. Had a knack of getting himself on the score sheet late. They'll be hoping they're not requiring that talent today, but it is a handy little one to have in the back pocket. As is his versatility, can play all across the midfield as well. Still probably not where Paul D and Pani Nikas would like to be deploying him best. He's got a shortage of options in the heart of their defence in the early season. The loss of Daniel Collins, who was so key for them last year. Ball towards Urashevsky, who I have to say is looking more engaged than he has in the opening stages of the first two rounds. No surprises given the importance of this fixture. He was getting a little bit of his own back there with a tread on the heels of his former teammate Lockie Griffiths. No love lost between those two. Battle they would have had over and over in training sessions over Lockie's couple of years at the club. No better training than marking probably the best player outside of the A-Leagues in Australia at the moment. Still plenty of time as well. He's already Rockdale's all-time leading goal scorer, all-time leading appearance getter, Alek Urashevsky. He just turned 31. Poor turnover. Uncharacteristic from Marconi. I have to say the ball in from Pufflet lacked a little bit of venom as well. George Daniel decides that distance is the priority. Ball towards Shalakian, who's not had a meaningful touch to this point, which is unusual by his standards. The proverbial arm wrestle to begin what is such an important game for both these two teams. Lenaric taken late by Urashevsky there, and then Jesic winning the free kick further upfield. I'll tell you what, Craig Fisher has got his work cut out today, doesn't he? There's been fractious moments already between Urashevsky and both central defenders. Further up the field, Braden Sorge has trodden on a couple of calves and ankles already. Brought into the side today, I suspect, just for that sort of thing. It has been a fractious and tense opening 10 minutes. Hear the scream through the effects mics from the Rockdale coaching staff below us. Burney looking to lob that one over the top. Daniel was actually ahead of Jake True there. Vela screening nicely in midfield. For Daniel, who's brought over again. This time it's Shalakian, the guilty party. George Daniel is causing some sorts of headaches down Marconi's attacking left, Rockdale's defensive right. On the far side of the pitch as we're viewing it. And so just one sacrifice for Rockdale's wall. Nixoris expecting to be called into work. The committee on the far side letting a hail of boos down on Bayliss and Meyer as they prepare to deliver. Craig Fisher's holding that up. This time it's Mlinaric and Nikolovsky. There is just flashpoints everywhere at the minute. And it's all little stuff you don't really pick up on unless you're really paying attention. All little shoves and nicks and niggles off the ball. Now Meyer has the chance to deliver. Swing it away from goal. Good piece of defending. Giorgio Speranza has been in that situation so many times. Good piece of defending to clear the danger, at least for now. Tell you what, it's not been a game with a lot of pace, despite the simmering intensity, and you almost get the feeling the players are waiting for it to open up somewhat, but these little fouls and stoppages, the referees are happy to let it float along as well, because they know a real flashpoint is not too far away. These are two teams who have met each other a lot over the past couple of seasons. If they say familiarity breeds contempt, it's certainly true here. Bayliss for Mlinaric. He's dropping right between his two central defenders, the young central midfielder. Good work from Griffiths on the ground he used to call home. Meyer trying to duck between two, and again it's Chalakian's touch that is pinged, taken very quickly by Marconi. True making his presence felt a bit too keenly, and Rashuto goes down and wins his side a pressure relieving free kick. It is difficult to keep an eye on everything that is happening. There's about 10 conversations going with the referee. The ball's in play. Players trying to get the better of one another off the ball. Urashevsky outthinks everybody, leaves it for Moody Dejar, who's through on goal. What a challenge from Mlinaric. Perfectly timed. And Marconi's defence celebrate as though they scored themselves. One of the signings of last season, Anton Mlinaric, still only 23 years old. Taken from Oakley, where he was successful down in Victoria as well. And now it's time for Rockdale to provide a test for James Hilton and his defence for the first time this afternoon. Chalakian going near post. Didn't beat Bayliss. Speranza was almost blocked off by the referee. Meant that Meyer could get a clean head at the ball. Isaac Danzo loves the ball in these areas. Bayliss half away again. Stretching his Constable. This time it's Mr. Marconi. Brandon Vella winning out and clearing the danger. Speranza retrieves it before it trickles out of play. So the attack stays alive for Rockdale. Just for now. Turned over rather cheaply. Chalakian uncompromising in his challenge on Meyer. He might look to get his own back. He did, and he did it fairly, said the referee. Again they come together. Vella this time scrapping with a couple, and the throw-in goes Rockdale's way right in front of the benches and us. If you just love a sporting contest, you'll not find too many better than this. It's not been a game for the purists by any sense, but boy, has it been engaging. And we've barely played quarter of an hour. Alex Molchanoff along with you. NPL New South Wales, round 3 match of the round. Rockdale Ilinden and the Marconi Stallions in a rematch of the 2024 grand final. It was Marconi who got the chocolates that day. Rockdale won the race for the premiership. But this is the opposition with whom they had the most problems a year ago, and whom their resume just feels a little incomplete without defeating. Love to get those 3 points today. Check that one off their list. Constable with Chalakian. Well-timed challenge from Griffiths, who has changed to the other side of this rivalry in the past couple of months. True. looking to switch play. So Kennis was right on the line, held his run long enough, and Rashuto recovered well. Constable for Pufflet. Lovely little Cruyff turn to see off the retreating Jake True. This time it's Constable trying to flick it round the corner, but George Daniel, not for the first time, wins out in his little individual battle. Mentioned the game, what was the grand final, but the defining fixture of Marconi's season was that 9-0 at Marconi Stadium, and they got a chance to open the scoring here. Franco Maya does just that. Timed his run to perfection. And the Stallions continue to stride away from the opposition they've grown to love playing more than any other. Maya not too influential early, but when the moment presented itself, he was as cool, as calm as you like. Mentioned some of the signings Marconi have brought in over the past 18 months. In an attacking sense, he is the pick of them. And a terrific moment to start. What has lived up to its billing. It's a fixture of anticipation and of, well, really the game that players all around the competition want to be playing in. And Marconi have drawn first blood at the home of their rivals. Maya looking to play provider now. Switches it out to the far side where Daniel's looking to corral it. Only as far as Sorge, all kept in by Danzo. I think Constable's ball is deflected onto the top of the stand on the far side. Rockdale did manage to open the scoring here in that 2-2 draw a year ago. The equaliser that came late from Alek Urasevsky, still the last goal that they have scored against Marconi. As much as they've flexed their attacking muscle, the steadiness of their defence is the rock on which they've relied over this fantastic run in the last 12 months. Daniel bursting forward from left back again. Boy, he's having a great start to this game. Could he go all the way? What a save from Soros. A dancing run from George Daniel. That was so close to ending in a second goal for Marconi. Seen some wonderful individual efforts in the opening couple of weeks of this season. That was not too far from being added to the list, if not for Nick Soros. Alert and alive to push the ball away. Now there's a corner to defend. Rockdale on the back foot on their home ground. Maya, the goal scorer, over to try and play provider. And again, Craig Fisher wants a word with the players swarming around the Rockdale Ilinden goalkeeper. Not for the first time of the crowd sitting behind the goal, offering words of advice in none too unclear terms, let's put it that way. Not words I want to repeat. Now the wrestling continues and Maya delivers right in towards it. Soros did well and got the referee's whistle in any case. Jesic a little too keen to make his presence felt. Doesn't he lead this team from the front though, Marco Jesic? Driving them forward at the age of 35. Ageless joined the club at really was the lowest ebb in their history, relegated to the second tier of New South Wales football. Ended a terrific chapter of his career in leading them to the grand final triumph a year ago. He's got some new teammates who he wants to get that feeling with again. Chalakian trying to give Rockdale some sort of answer here as Moody Najjar uses creative means to try and hold off the Marconi defenders.
Referee Craig Fisher says they were illegal. Blows for an indirect free kick. Boy, this has been a fun opening 20 minutes. Franco Meyer's goal separates the two teams. Well taken finish just after the quarter of an hour mark. It's Marconi who have been on the front foot since. Rockdale struggling to get out of their own half with any real conviction. Very healthy crowd have gathered here at the Ilinden Sports Centre tonight. Rockdale making the decision to move quite a few of their home games to Saturday nights, so with a preserve of Sunday afternoons in the NPL New South Wales last season. Slightly cooler conditions on the synthetic pitch. Marconi, you're enjoying those conditions tonight. Swinging this ball in. Only half cleared. True throw. Forest of bodies. And eventually away by Nikolovsky. Still the danger's not clear. Molinaric keeping the attack alive. Quite a way back to Vela. Trying to measure one for Molinaric. And well gathered by Soros, who was keen in his self-preservation as well. What a venomous strike that was from Jake True through plenty of bodies. And the Rockdale Ilinden goalkeeper is doing his value no harm whatsoever. Meyer full of confidence, winning it back off Chalakian. Now the ball is just finding him without it even asking him to. And Urashevsky is going to be the first player booked. Showing a little too much enthusiasm. Perhaps a little bit of frustration. He's not been able to get into the game. Rockdale Iliden's talisman. Cutting a bit of an isolated figure up front. It's not to say he can't change the game anyway. Seen him do it so many times. Jesic with two hands in the back of Prosciutto and a wry smile as he returns to his defensive position. I think because he knows he might have done exactly what Blake Prosciutto did there had he felt him in his back. Two old heads clashing down this near side of the field. Hear the noise. We've got fans below us. The scaffolding on the eastern side of the Ilinden Sports Centre, mixed in with the coaches offering their opinions. Both have been active. Peter Sekenis pacing the touchline, sensing perhaps that his team's early momentum is just fading a little. They have got a goal to show for their early superiority in this game. Flicked over the top. Every time Chalakian gets the ball to his feet and looks to turn, which is really his trademark, he's swarmed by at least two Marconi players, as he has been again there, and this time Lachlan Griffiths is told to stop pulling his shirt. Chalakian just unstoppable when he gets into those areas. Even with two or three around him, he can find a way to wriggle out of trouble. Seeing Pani Nikas on the edge of his technical area for the first time today. A little bit of a rejuggle in Rockdale's coaching staff in the off-season, despite the success of Paul D. For large parts of it. Chalakian swinging this one deep, and Hilton came, didn't get there, and Danzo squared it. Just needed someone gambling through the middle. And so unusually for Rockdale, no one was. Suddenly, perhaps as Peter Sekenis sensed, the tide turning slightly. Urashevsky, who has that long throw in his back pocket as well, only as far as Molinaric, and then Sorge going over the top of Sekenis to win the header. It's pinged for another free kick. The foul count will be well over 15 by the end of this first half. Gets towards 30 by the end of the game, I wouldn't be surprised. Craig Fisher having to do everything in his power just to make sure tempers don't fray too far in this fixture, which has so much feeling. Even for Marconi, who have their old traditional rivals in Sydney United and RPL Leichhardt, this is growing right to the forefront because of the success of the two teams over the past 12 months. Urashevsky dragged to the floor by Lachlan Griffiths, and the players and supporters ask why the former Rockdale defender hasn't been booked yet. And Craig Fisher is now pulling out the yellow card. think as much for the totting up of those little indiscretions more than anything. Lockie Griffiths is a Canberra native, grew up playing his football in Coomera and Gungahlin. Made his start. We talked about a couple of players, Ollie Pufflet and Jake True, got their starts with A-League academies in the now defunct National Youth League. Griffiths was another one of those. Picked up because of his performances with that defunct Canberra side. Rockdale just swinging momentum back in their favour. They'd love a goal to show for that change. Here's Braden Swords trying to make something happen. Scored one of his rare goals against Marconi in this corresponding fixture a year ago. Again, it falls down for Rockdale, and Marconi so deadly on the break, looking to swing forwards quickly. Franco Maya pinged for pushing over Giorgio Speranza in back play. Rockdale want to get going. Feeling that their best football is starting to come. They've been slow starters in 2025 so far. Heavy challenge between Speranza and Vella. A little love between the two former teammates. Giorgio, of course, spent plenty of time at Marconi under Peter Sakanis with his brother Robbie. Not playing this season, taking a year off to try and get his body right after recovering from an ACL surgery. His teammates are going, well, his former teammates are going pretty well in the last 5 or 10 minutes, starting to build the pressure that they're looking for, which hopefully brings with it a goal. As I mentioned, didn't score, obviously, in that 9-0 loss at Marconi. Couldn't conjure a winning effort in the grand final either. Can they get themselves square here? Chalakian so proficient over the dead ball. A line of red and black bodies to aim for. Goes near post, flicked on by Urashevsky. And it took a touch off Damien Sakanis, who was tracking his opposite striker. Good bit of defensive work. It's been a terrific story, Damien Sakanis, and his return to semi-professional football. He's hit the ground running. At the start of the year. He's just looking to get match minutes and basically get himself back fit. He's done more than that. Was very impressive against Blacktown City on the opening day, and then managed to nick himself the first goal back in Marconi colours last weekend against Mount Druitt. He's back to do more defending here. Every Marconi player back inside the box, waiting for the ball in, which goes to Constable. Straight back for player on the far side, and the flag went up because he was almost right in the corner. Almost impossible not to be in an offside position there. Disappointment for Marconi, or for Rockdale rather. So another promising little sequence comes to an end. Paul D up having deep chat with fourth official Ayad Naji. Franco Meyer is down on the near side, so I feel that he'll be able to receive treatment here. Indeed, that's what's going to occur. While that happens, we'll bring you the results from earlier in the round. NPL New South Wales men's. Of course, had the women's launch on Friday as well. That kicks off next weekend. On Friday night, Western Sydney Wanderers going down 1-0 to Sutherland, who, as we sit, are top of the NPL New South Wales. Won't last long if we get a winner tonight, but as spoken to their terrific start to the season. Brought in so much quality. Getting a 1-0 win at Wanderers Football Park last night. 0-0 draw between Manly United and Sydney United 58 at Cromer Park. Sydney United's wait for a win there, I think, is now beyond a decade. A 3-2 win for Mount Druitt Town Rangers over St George FC. Marconi scrapping to clear their lines, not able to do so, and then a really loose pass from Giorgio Speranza. Knows, well, that he expects better of himself. Was on his less favoured right foot, but really, it's a 5-yard pass for Moody Najjar, and so the attack comes to another disappointing close. Franco Meyer's back on his feet on the near touch line, so Marconi will soon be back to their full complement. Hilton clears well upfield. Flick forward by Nikolovsky. Further by Chalakian. Urashevsky in an awkward area for Hilton, who caught him as he came out. And the referee says there's a fear of a head injury. Hilton did well. That ball came to him very awkwardly on the edge of the area at a point where he couldn't really go up and claim it with his hands without being uncertain as to whether he'd be able to keep it inside his area. There's a coming together as arguments are had over the welfare of Urashevsky, who still has a crowd of bodies around him. Craig Fisher wants players to move away. Marko Jesic is half helping and half escalating in those discussions. Urashevsky's well-being is at the forefront of our minds here. He's up, moving his head around. Seemed to be a glancing blow that caught him as Hilton came to try and clear his lines. Well, this is going to mean a fair bit of time added on at the end of this first half. We kicked off about 5 minutes late as well, so can expect us to be around 8 o'clock before both teams head back down the tunnel for those team talks. Franco Meyer's goal separates the two sides in the opening stages of this game. Played in by a beautiful slide rule ball. He took his chance with aplomb. One-on-one with Nick Soros, who couldn't keep it out. Second good chance when George Daniel danced his way through about 3 Rockdale defenders. Shot on his less favoured right foot, still forced a very athletic save from Soros. Without him, Rockdale's situation might be rather more dire. As it is, it's just that one goal at the moment. James Hilton not yet called into a regulation save, but he has had some awkward moments around the edge of his penalty area. Such is the dangerous and ever-present threat of Alek Urashevsky, who's just regaining his wherewithal now. We'll be back with us shortly. Hilton gets set to clear his lines again in this first half. It's become a bit of a pattern of it. Marconi trying to win the ball, get forward quickly in transition, but when the game has been stopped and stilted like this, happy to try and pressure Rockdale's backline with long balls in the air like this. Bayless meeting a sandwich between Chalakian and Constable, falls for Najjar. Urashevsky peeling off the left as he loves to do, but even he couldn't reel that one in. Marconi, as they've managed to do in the last couple of fixtures against Rockdale, have been able to limit the influence of the front two. Chalakian and Urashevsky, their combination well known and recognised and feared around the league. Not by the Stallions, who just seem to know how to corral them better than others. Najjar diving into the back of Bernie, and so conceding the free kick. Been an interesting 12 months for Moody Najjar. Had signed to play with Rockdale in 2024. Then the call came that there might be something presenting itself over in Korea, so over he went and played in the K-League 3 with Hwangseong. Managed to win promotion there. 13 appearances for them in the league. Getting 3 goals, not too bad a return for a man who played most of his time over there off the bench. He's back in a starting role with Rockdale and looking to play forward Giorgio Speranza, who wants the handball to be called. Mlinaric did well to keep his arms in, and Rockdale will get the corner regardless. Starting to build pressure from these set pieces, which has proved itself a handy way to goal for Rockdale. I won't call it fruitful because they've not been amongst the highest scoring teams from these situations over the last 12 months. We've got a chance here. Ball played deep, and the clearance from Griffiths didn't go where he intended it to. Away for now, and another corner from the far side this time. Najjar hoping it's bit more threatening than the last one, which cluttered into Urasevsky at the near post. Players gathering towards the back of Hilton's net. Again, the ball in doesn't beat Bayliss, but we'll have a third bite at the cherry. Feel there is an incident brewing, good or bad, that's just about to bring this fixture back to life. An equaliser here could be it. Najar resuming responsibilities. Again, only finds Bayliss. Deflects for Danzo. Good block by Griffiths. And Speranza can't get a second shot away. And now Marconi have numbers if they play it right. Meyer has Sekenes through the middle. He's found him. One-on-one with Swords, who recovered beautifully. Wonderful defending from the fan favourite here at the Ilinden Sports Centre. But then he's turned it over. Not helped by Danzo. D not happy as Marconi looked to get forward, and Moody Najar did well to bail his teammates out. Suddenly this game's starting to open up. Najar just with a sloppy pass, a moment when his team needed to go forward. Constable ever full of endeavour, winning the ball out, and Rockdale flick it to the left where Urashevsky's waiting, face to face with Griffiths again. Lenaric didn't clear, well saved by Hilton. Chalakian goes down, penalty. Penalty, Rockdale. 3 incidents that could all be talking points in the space of 60 seconds. But it's fallen Rockdale's way with a chance from 11 metres. Lenaric not able to deal with the ball at the front post. Marconi will say that he was fouled as he tried to clear. But then it was a clumsy challenge through the back of Chalakian, and Craig Fisher had a better view than anyone. No hesitation in pointing to the spot. And so Urashevsky, who else entrusted with the responsibility of putting Rockdale level. A hush falls upon the Ilinden Sports Centre. Urashevsky from a long way back blasts it home, and we're all level again. With half-time looming, Alec Urashevsky with his second of the year. Did you expect anything different? And just as we were speaking about the way Marconi have been able to limit the effect of Chalakian and Urashevsky, they combined for Rockdale's equaliser. Urashevsky instrumental in the build-up as well. It was his cross that undid Marconi's defence. And Griffiths and Lenaric, who have absorbed so much pressure in the last 10 minutes, not able to deny Rockdale any longer. And so Franco Meyer's opener is cancelled out, and we were, as we were at the beginning of the night. But boy, has a lot happened already. Do not go anywhere. There is only more drama to come. They don't do boring ones, these two. And Ollie Pufflet has George Daniel in a bit of a pickle. He dealt with it beautifully, the Marconi left back. Oh, and the vision to find Bayliss was pretty clever as well. Urashevsky bundling him over off the ball. And this time Nikolovsky shrugging clear. Jake True of his shoulders. Two teams aiming for the top of this premiership ladder, engaged in what have been an entertaining 40 minutes and a yellow card for Nikolovsky, who went right through the back. It seemed as though winning the ball was a secondary worry. Lenaric is none too happy with the challenge. I can see why. That one stings. And Marko Jesic making that point to referee Fisher. He's done a good job at keeping a lid on all of this. Young Damien Sekenes is back to his feet. And a comment there from one of the Marconi players has brought the Rockdale fans back to life. A fixture that started looking as though it was going to be all Marconi's way again. Rockdale have wrestled their way back into the contest, both metaphorically and literally. They haven't been the only side. Marconi have contributed to the physicality in equal measure. Football you love to watch. The NPL New South Wales at its best tonight between its two best teams. Resuming a rivalry that has gone from a lot of talk to a really keen dose of reality over the past 6 months. And George Daniel's been pinged for pulling on the shirt of Ollie Pufflet there. The left back, who's about half Pufflet size, battling for front position, doing so illegally. So Rockdale, who have built so much pressure from these set pieces in the opening half, really it's been their only way to goal. Set to let another ball fall in Marconi's penalty area. Hopefully, from their point of view, towards someone wearing red and black. Marconi resplendent in that sky blue, needing to show the grit and determination that has taken them right to the top of this competition. Ball in from Najjar towards Urasevsky. Well read by Bayliss, who turns it behind. Another Rockdale corner. 7 or 8 by my count in this first half. Sure, that free kick count will be into double figures well and truly as well. Najjar, whose delivery from these set pieces has improved over the course of the first half. Goes near post. Hilton, it almost went straight in, did it? Not over the line. Corner kick, says the referee. Hilton pushing it onto the frame of the goal at the last second, the last millisecond. Had he waited any longer to act, it would have gone straight in. And so we do it again. Moody Najjar. Suddenly the wizard with the left foot. This time it's Griffiths heading out for a throw. And James Hilton lets out a cry in relief that it wasn't another corner. He has been put under some pressure in this last 15 minutes. And Marconi, who had Rockdale pegged in their own half for the opening 20 minutes of this game, have barely been able to get out of theirs for the last 20. And Constable sniffing out the opportunity and only just firing over. That's what Lachlan Constable brings. Just a nose for goal, a nose for opportunities like that. Think of a Javier Saviola or a Carlos Tevez of days gone by. He's a diminutive figure, lightning quick. Good news as well for Rockdale. News is that Mathieu Cordier, who's down in front of us today, can see him well and truly out of the moon boot now, but the hope is that he's not too far away after that dreadful injury suffered here against Sydney United in the middle of last season. Good to see him out supporting the Rockdale Ilinden teammates this evening as well. Chalakian flying into Mlinaric as he cleared. Sorge heading into another scrap. We've seen so many of these over the first half. Players just leaving a little shoulder or an elbow in. Scooped forward by Brandon Vella, away by Giorgio Speranza in the first instance. Now he's forced to chase over to the near touchline with Meyer in his back, and there only seemed like there was going to be one result. Meyer pleads his case, but the assistant had a very good view. Shake of the head almost towards the gantry. Was he who opened the scoring. Just after the 15-minute mark, Franco Meyer slid in by a beautiful pass and able to beat Nick Soros to open the scoring before Brendan Chalakian was brought down in the Rockdale penalty area. Craig Fisher had no hesitation in blowing for a penalty, which was converted by Alec Urasevsky. And Giorgio Speranza, another one of their experienced heads, just down after that little blow from Maya. I have to say, I think there's going to be a fair bit of added time just for the amount of stoppages for injuries we've had in this first half. Players falling like flies in a physical encounter. It's done very well. I think Craig Fisher to only bring his cards out of his pocket twice. One apiece. Now Rockdale ready to restart us. Nothing short and silly from either side tonight. It's been get it forward quickly. Of course, as I say that, Soros decides to go short to Blake Risciuto. Vella wins it back off the toe of Chalakian. Jesic has got the wrong side of Risciuto, who recovered beautifully. Wins the challenge, concedes the throw. Alec Urasevsky telling us he thinks there's about 2 minutes. He just wants the ball up the other end. Tyrone Burney trying to cross on his left foot. His usual presence from right fullback further up the pitch has been well negated by Rockdale so far tonight. Urasevsky in another battle with Lachlan Griffiths. Those two have barely left each other's side. Oh, and now Craig Fisher calling it back. Urasevsky thought it was in anticipation of the ball being blocked, and it was actually because the ball was rolling. So Craig Fisher quite within his rights to make sure the ball was still. Franco Mai, who's always very observant with these sorts of things and can get himself into trouble. A wry smile towards his bench. Gee, this game has had everything. And we're not yet halfway through it. Risciuto forward, and Craig Fisher perhaps breathing a sigh of relief himself, because it has been a fractious and fiery opening 45 minutes. We expected nothing less, and perhaps fitting that Franco Maya, who has added so much heat to that equation, showed the coolest head when presented the opportunity to open the scoring for Marconi. 2 combined for Rockdale's equaliser. No surprises, or prizes, I should say, for guessing who. Chalakian winning the penalty. Urasevsky converting it for his second goal of the year. And so we go to the break with things beautifully poised at a goal apiece. Alex Molchanoff with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel tonight. We'll be back in 10 or 15 minutes for the second half. Don't go anywhere. It's Rockdale Ilinden 1, Marconi Stallions 1.
Specialist Contracting, Ichi's Sushi Bar, Zoomwave Construction, Forgery Australia, Level 33 Developers, Vortex Property Group, East to West Land Services, Russia Scaffolding, HT Wills, Broad Air, William Roberts Lawyers, BA Architecture, Tempe Tires, Chinese Cocktails and Back Row West, Adcall Services, BNB Bricklaying, Direct Incheck, Mark Consultant, Fruit Easy, Wilbur Cranes, Club Suppliers, KST Buses, ABA's Audio Visual, 2025 apparel partner, Stano. We also wish to thank all of our pre-on-sign shoulders as well, so Court Station Sport Locker.
Joski to the press box. Rob Joski to the press box. from the southern end, please vacate the field. All the kids from the southern end, can you please come off the field?
Kids on the southern end, please leave the field now.
Welcome back to the Ilinden Sports Centre, the NPL New South Wales match of round 3, a rematch of the 2024 grand final at Combank Stadium in September. And we are all square at the break. A 17th minute opener from Franco Meyer cancelled out with 6 minutes of regular time to play by who else but Alek Urusevski from the penalty spot after Brendan Chalakian had been fouled inside the penalty area. So, Marconi's early dominance faded. Rockdale worked themselves back into the game, got the result in between a very fractious and tempestuous atmosphere between both sets of players. Both coaches have stayed with the same 11 that they sent out to start the match. We'll see how quickly the substitutes are introduced. Alex Molchanov along with you for the second half of this one. It has been everything we were promised over the opening 45 minutes. We're expecting something similar over the next 3/4 of an hour. And there might be a chance for Damien Sekenes to get off the shoulder. A long ball, very much more in hope than anticipation. Found its way to the youngster, who might have knocked it into his own head and behind for an inauspicious start to the second half. Cameron Windus got a smile on his face. He's back up and running, fit enough for the bench for the first time today this season. Good to see him back. He's going to have to battle for his spot in the centre of defence again. Jake True in a battle with Brendan Chalakian down the near side, and that decision was only ever going one way. Chalakian wanted to take it quickly. Craig Fisher making clear that has to be given a chance to move out of the way before he'll blow a free kick for encroaching on that 10 metres. Lenaric uncompromising through Chalakian, who squares up to the bigger man. It's not shy of a little to and fro, Brendan Chalakian, and he's been engaged in this encounter right from the first whistle. And now the Rockdale players surrounding Craig Fisher. It's an imposing presence in his own right. Marko Jesic looking for an explanation. He and Urusevski at the heart of all these discussions as the two captains. We saw Rockdale basically bombard Marconi's penalty area with set pieces in the first half. It looks as though that pattern's set to continue in the second, and Moody Najjar delivered most of these dead balls. He's got a line of 5 players to aim for. That's not including Constable, the closest, who got the flick on. Risciuto was offside, and the goal will be ruled out. Was onside when the initial ball was played, but after Constable got that touch, There was no chance that goal was going to be allowed. So Rockdale find the back of the net early in the second half, but the goal is ruled out by Aaron Block's flag on the near side. And the committee have found full voice, really for the first time tonight. Happy, I'm sure, that their side are attacking their end of the Ilinden Sports Centre in this second half. Artificial light has well and truly taken over the natural stuff. Sun has set over the western side of the Ilinden Sports Centre. This pitch is now nothing short of a picture. Good crowd in for this grand final rematch. Certainly hasn't been a game for the purists, but has been a game between two teams who understand the importance, who don't like each other. That rivalry has become so real over the past year or so. And this time the free kick's gone Rockdale's way. Certainly Marconi don't feel they've had the rub of the green in terms of decisions in the 10 or 15 minutes either side of half-time. Peter Sukenis in a frank war of words with the assistant on the near side. Ayad Naji is one of the coolest referees around NPL New South Wales and has dealt with everything thrown his way with a smile today. And so it was Rockdale's turn first to swing in one of these set pieces. You basically hold a mirror up to where this ball is being placed for a Franco Maya free kick. Scored the first on 17 minutes tonight, the Uruguayan Aussie. Wrestling and jostling continue in the middle of the Rockdale defensive penalty areas. This one swung in deep. Saurus, well, enough positions to know that ball was flying wide of his net. A bit of disappointment for Franco Maya, who knows he can deliver better from those situations. He already has tonight. Now the focus much turned to the two benches with the game locked in stalemate. Plenty of attacking options for Rockdale. Hunter Elliott is an attacking right back, replaced by Braden Sorge, knowing the defensive cover would be needed tonight. Bray Ovens, who's had a knack for late goals, got one in the semi-final, or preliminary final, I should say, against Sydney United here to get them into that grand final, and then popped up with a late winner at St George FC a week ago. Sorge getting forward from right back, on for Pufflet. Well cleared by Griffiths, who has been almost faultlessly well positioned tonight. True dribbling it to Sukenis, and the throw goes Rockdale's way. Also there, the promising young 16-year-old Jordan Gradowski is available for Rockdale Ilinden tonight. Turned 17 in the middle of the week. Already has drawn enough interest to pull him away from his junior club Sutherland. Ali Orgla returning from Iraq, of all places, to make his re-entry into Australian football with Rockdale this season. And then Chris McStay, who started last week in the middle of the field but didn't look fully fit. And Anton Mlinaric, who Rockdale have been baying for a card for almost the entirety of this game, is finally booked by Craig Fisher. And so now both Marconi centre halves are in the referee's book. A tightrope to walk with Alek Urasevsky making runs in behind you. Not an enjoyable experience for any defender. Ball lobbed up towards Pufflet, who made something of it. Griffith sweeping up George Daniels' initial defensive work. Just a moment to breathe. Approaching the 10-minute mark in this second half. Game that's been full of action and flashpoints. Mlinaric half away. Maya up rather than out. Speranza better position than his former teammate, long-time teammate Marko Jesic. Mlinaric over the top of Urasevsky. Still it won't sit. Eventually away by Griffiths, but only as far as Risciuto. And Rockdale are resuming the dominance that they showed at the end of the first half. Najar Aimless first time, better the second to Danzo. And then Chalakian catching Bayliss rather dangerously. He hobbles a couple of times, falls to the floor. And Rockdale's number 10 is shown a yellow ticket. Storied career, Brendan Chalakian, for the longest time at Manly United, where he won a premiership, or a championship, I should say, back in 2017. A couple of years with Sydney Olympic, and then the move to Rockdale, which resulted in a premiership last year. It's been a key cog at the heart of every club he's pulled on the strip of. He's turning away from trouble. Urashevsky, Mlinaric wanted the flag. It was never coming. Bounces up for Urashevsky, and Mlinaric did brilliantly to recover. Hoists the ball clear. Jesic playing the man rather than the ball, which bounced off his backside and fell for Rockdale, who'd turn it over. Neither team can find a player of their own colour. And George Daniel is helped out by Ollie Pufflett's pull on his jersey. Marconi finally able to break out of their own half, really for the first time in the second period. Isaac Danzo showing his cultured upbringing through the centre of midfield, even amongst all the huff and bluster, which Constable contributes to by thumping the ball into Pufflett. Fell for Vella, who was rather sloppy. Schuto. Najjar got something on it. It was in behind for Urashevsky. Just needed probably another yard of pace on it. True did brilliantly. Ball forward was rather less enterprising. And Soros is happy to see it out for a goal kick. The games that have happened later this afternoon brought you Friday's results during the first half. Game in progress down at Penshurst Parks, and George City with a 2-0 lead over the young Sky Blues of Sydney FC. Sydney Olympic and the Wollongong Wolves playing at a 0-0 draw earlier today at Belmore. Rather worrying scoreless streak for Labano Haliti's side. That was a very loose challenge from Jake True. Yellow card at least. A decision to make here for Craig Fisher. He was stretching off balance and fortunately didn't go through with his full conviction, and that might just have saved Jake True. Certainly the players knew the scale of the decision that was coming from Craig Fisher. He's not shy of pulling out the red card when it's needed. He's aiming to get through the night without showing one of those. Jake True coming as close as anyone's been, I think it's fair to say. Reckless, the perfect way to describe that challenge. Becomes the third Marconi player been booked tonight. Griffiths was taken off the ball and fell very heavily. It's a dangerous one for defenders. Now amongst all the gamesmanship between those two, Urashevsky's happy to help stretch out his former teammate's cramp. There's been no love lost between the two former teammates. Lachlan Griffiths, he missed it in the first half, making his return to Rockdale after he made the switch to Marconi in the off-season. Ball lobbed in. Jesic, free header and a wonderful save from Soros. Begging to be turned home. Jesic made a solid enough connection, but cat-like reflexes from Soros turned it around the post. Not the first time tonight. Made a key save in the first half from a not dissimilar situation. And without him, Rockdale would be behind, I have little doubt, despite their dominance over the course of the past 20 minutes. Here's the resulting corner, allowed to bounce, and then Nikolovsky, who stuck his head into a very dangerous area, is awarded the free kick. There'll be nothing more. You can hear the yell of pain, I suppose, from Nikolovsky all the way up on the scaffolding where you're seeing this game from. Another discussion involving Marko Jesic, who must be thinking what might have been with that chance which presented itself to him not a minute ago. Beautiful ball swung in. It was left completely unmarked, which is not advisable if you're a Rockdale player. Fortunately, not punished. Soros has no small part to play in that little scenario. Najar, again, trying to make something of nothing. Thundered into Griffiths, who has been on the end of a couple of late collisions. That one right in front of the committee was probably more popular. Constable lobbing it wide for Sorge. Pufflet trying to make something of it, using his frame to hold off Mlinaric. Sorge mistiming his pass for Constable rather than mishitting it. Nikolovsky with a swarming challenge on James Tsakenis. Cannot take your eyes off it. Ticking past the hour mark. Still plenty of action to go in this one. A little bit of ill discipline from Ollie Pufflet, who couldn't hold his run despite looking across the line. Alex Molchanov bringing you a match of the rounds in the NPL NSW, round 3. Franco Meyer's 17th minute strike, one played through one-on-one with the Rockdale goalkeeper. Nick Souris was cancelled out by Alek Urasevsky's penalty with 5 minutes to play in the second half. And that is where we still stand with about half an hour to play. There's been a tension around this ground, which is, despite being almost as full as you ever seen it, not as full of voice as we've ever heard it. There is a desire burning very deeply in the Rockdale supporters that they win this game. Najar thought he'd held his run. Perhaps less so than the coaching staff. Flag went up early from the assistant on the near side, despite the protests from the Rockdale technical area. Has to be said that despite the little bit of turnover in both squads, the fact they've been able to bring in replacements for almost all of them, it's been super impressive. Nikolovsky, one of those, turning to New South Wales, where he grew up playing his football from a season with Olympic FC in Queensland, where he was teammates with now Sydney Olympic striker Cyrus Demi. Franco Meyer keen to have a word with Alek Urasevsky as those two came together on the far side. Throwing goes Rockdale's way right on halfway. Now the arm is up and free kick rightly given. Gets Tyrone Burney. It's been serviceable without being spectacular tonight, as he often can be. Right back of the year, this season 2024, lured across to the Marconi Stallions from his junior club, Blacktown City. Hasn't missed a minute yet for his new club, including taking on his old one on the opening day. Rashuto lobbing this one towards him. Shevsky won the initial header and then thumped away by Anton Mlinaric. Nikolovsky sends it back up the other end. Easily dealt with by Daniel. Corralled by Constable. Daniel frustrated that he couldn't do more than that. Rockdale trying to up the tempo. A little bit of a sloppy throw, though, from Lockie Constable. He's frustrated with himself. Change is still not looking likely. The coach is not too keen to disturb the status quo. Really has been an arm wrestle this second half, and that little coming together has typified this game. Craig Fisher, understanding the enormity of the occasion, has done his best to let the game flow. Only pulling out the whistle and the notebook when it's been most needed to keep a lid on temperatures and tempers. Jurasevski's one real moment has been that penalty after delivering the cross that caused such chaos amongst Marconi's back line. That is still the only real positive story for Rockdale, their only clear-cut chance. Marconi have been able to create a couple of others. Two good saves either side of the break from Nick Soros mean that they're still level. If the result stays as is, we'll have almost identical records. Win and 2 draws to start both their seasons, giving away a bit of leeway to the top of the pops, Sutherland Sharks and Spirit FC. I don't think too many had them picked in, well, right up the top of their tables, maybe scrapping for top 6 places. They look as though they're going to lead the way at the end of round 3. Spirit still to play tomorrow. What now looks a tasty encounter with Spirit FC, with Apio Leichhardt rather, and Franco Maya, who's been at the centre of almost everything tonight, has now found himself on the end of a yellow card. And Rockdale again trying to get the tempo going, but the referee has paperwork to do. So their ambition is stifled. Game that has faded, certainly hasn't failed in providing us entertainment, but has faded into a real locking of horns between two teams that are the strongest this competition can provide. Played out a draw here almost exactly a year ago. Will change in a moment. So Kennis is still chasing down lost causes. Conceding the free kick there. Pufflet. And he's going to leave it for Urasevski, who's onside. He's one-on-one. Brilliant save from Hilton. Saves his side. Another big moment, and one you would expect Jurasevski to take. Chalakian trying to keep the attack alive. He finds Constable, who goes deeper this time. Najar's there. Bernie got the first touch. Najar trying to turn him inside out and wins the corner. And the crowd are buoyed by all that. Jurasevski now holds his head in his hands, knowing that he might have finished it off. The hesitation in Marconi's backline came because Oliver Pufflet looked like he was offside. But once Jurasevski burst out of the pack, suddenly hearts were in mouths. Not James Hilton, who sprung into action. One of the best young goalkeepers in the competition, proving his worth again. Now he's got a corner to defend. Chalakian over to the far side to lift it high into the night sky. Griffiths read it best. Danzo picks up the scraps. Further back for Sorge, and now Pufflet, and forward again for Danzo. Dangerous ball, well read by Mlinaric. Shuto, which is what he does, with more height than he would have liked, Blake Risciuto. And so Peter Sekenis is going to be the first to shuffle the deck. Carl Cementi has had some sterling seasons in this competition, although a few years ago now. He's been plagued by injury, the 26-year-old, but it's he who's going to take up those big boots of Marko Jesic, whose night is over, contributing to the opening goal. Was able to find a second. Can Cementi be the man to pounce when the opportunity presents itself? A first touch for him here with Nikolovsky in his back, and he wins the free kick. Much to the host's displeasure. You feel that the big moments in this second half might just come from a set piece. It's been such the theme of this game. A much less open encounter than the grand final in September. Plagued by fouls and little coming togethers. It's been no less engaging. But the football itself has been risk averse at times. Neither wanting to present the other the opportunity to win it. Maya trying to create that moment now. Shuto half away. Daniel got something on it. Maya swooping in to pick up the scraps. That's a dangerous ball. Well read by Nikolovsky. Now Bernie lofting it towards True, who was offside in any case and didn't manage to make contact. He's looking stronger and stronger week on week, Jake True. His physical conditioning has really not been a problem since he's returned from that last of those ACLs. Down the other end, Urashevsky. And timing his retreating run to perfection was Tyron Burney. Just a flash of blue as Urashevsky broke away, and then a clever bit of play from George Daniel to win his side a defensive throw. Urashevsky back to the floor. Not a good sign for Rockdale because they want things to keep moving at the moment, and now he has a conversation with Craig Fisher. Maybe just thinking that last thing Rockdale want at the minute is for the game to be slowed even further. 3 points, not a taste they've had against Marconi for more than a year. Sorge, sliding challenge from Griffiths, got more ball than man. Despite some howls from the crowd on the far side for a free kick. Rockdale still had possession, but they've turned it over cheaply. True scrapping it forward for Sekenis. Risciuto wins the foot race, but can't do anything other than really dribble the ball out of play. Fella taking it sort of 10 yards further back than he needed to, and Sekenis, who was swarmed upon by a couple, and then stretching to try and win his side back the ball, committed a foul of his own. Still Rockdale yet to go to those plentiful attacking options that they have with them tonight. Paul D's now in conversation with the fourth official, Ayad Naji. Consultation with a couple of the coaching staff down there. Shalakian tried to make a contest of that, and Shementi is cynically brought down by Risciuto. The two share a smile as Risciuto finds his way into the referee's notebook. Little hesitation from referee Fisher. Just needs another flashpoint this game. A moment of magic. Maya's the player that can provide that. Marconi have got their foothold back again. Now they want the breakthrough. So they've been so good at finding over the second half of 2024 and into the start of 2025. Did it against Mount Druitt last week with the game hanging in the balance. Damien Sekenis' goal just before half-time really put the separation between them and their opponents. Ball swung in, or attempting to be swung in by Lockie Griffiths, who'd found himself all the way up the pitch, and perhaps showing that wasn't his position A1. Swings the ball out of play. Rockdale again trying to get started short, and this is allowing Marconi to really build into the press that was their trademark last year. Haven't seen much of it in season 2025 just yet, but Rockdale encouraging them to try it out with a quarter of an hour to play if they're going to continue playing short from those goal kicks and defensive free kick situations. George Daniel forward from left back. True inside him. Still Jake True. Getting a shot away. Saurus only pouring it into a dangerous area. Unfortunately, Danzo was there to tidy. Danger not clear for Rockdale. Maya, who got the opener tonight. Bouncing ball, half away by Sorge. Vela loves to run with it. Ran into True, who lines up again. And Nikolovsky not keen for Saurus to make the save. Turns it behind for a Marconi corner. a game that has kept you on the edge of your seat the whole way through, particularly if you're a supporter of one of these sides. Little sound, even from the committee. There's not wanting to disturb what's happening on the pitch. There'll be plenty of noise if there is a goal here. Whipped in by Bayliss, and Griffiths got the better jump than Ollie Pufflet. Just couldn't steer it goalwards. Well, he was bound to be central to the theatre tonight, wasn't he, Lachlan Griffiths? In his first visit back to Rockdale, where he was a premier a year ago. Wouldn't that have been something if he had managed to find the back of the net? Not to be. A wait for a winner goes on. Chalakian fighting to get level with Bayliss, who won the header. Meyer over the top of the ball. Has to be careful in there, Franco Meyer. In fact, it was Sekenis. And then Speranza just clatters into Meyer. Nowhere near the ball. It's going to be a long referee's report tonight for Craig Fisher. So the first of Paul D's substitutes, perhaps unsurprisingly, is the one startlet. Now very much eminent threat, Ali Orglar. Popular figure since signing in these parts. Of course, his family of Iraqi heritage, and he's been back to Baghdad a couple of times over the past few years. Was playing football, or signed to play football there a year ago. Can he make the impact that he was making with the Bulls Academy a couple of seasons ago in this competition? George Daniel whipping this one in. He's got some defending to do first. Sorge half clear. Bayliss into a dangerous area, but there was no blue shirts in the vicinity. And Soros is able to tidy up fairly easily. Compared to some of the work he's had to do tonight, I'd be very grateful for that. Sloppy challenge from Meyer. Be a couple of calls, no doubt, for a second booking, but I think that was a fair way from that. I have to be honest, it does feel as though this game is just going to fizzle out. 15 minutes of regular time to play. Haven't seen a clear-cut opportunity for a good 15 minutes. Here it might be. Pufflet. Beautifully read by Hilton. And Pufflet lets his frustrations out on the advertising on the fence around the ground. It's been that sort of night for him. So many nearly moments for both sets of players this evening. Yurosevsky forcing a very good save from Hilton in this second half after he got the equaliser from the penalty spot 5 minutes before half-time. Franco Meyer got it all started on 17 minutes. Can he turn provider here? Engages Speranza. He's got blue shirts up in support. Beautifully defended by Giorgio Speranza. Won the challenge. Not the battle yet, but the loose ball from Griffiths ends the threat. Down the other side, Marconi have probably had the better of the chances in this second half. A very good save forced from Marko Jesic off his head. A diving and desperate Nick Soros made the save. That has been about it in terms of clear-cut chances in the second half. Goal kick that really did hold up in the wind. That is blowing, as you might have guessed, from right to left, making it difficult for Soros to get real distance on his goal kicks. Reminder, it was a stalemate in the opening game between these two a year ago as well. Bray Ovens is being readied. He's been the hero for Rockdale time and time again over the past, well, last weekend we can go to. We can go to the ceiling goal he got in the semi-final against Sydney United. And perhaps unsurprisingly, he's the card that Paul D is going to play. Rockdale have got to get out of their own half first. They've done it in a somewhat kamikaze fashion. Jake True, who's using all his speed and athleticism just to affect the attack, delay it rather than bring it to an end. Orglar with a first touch. Speranza beyond him. And a brilliant tackle again from Lockie Griffiths, sliding at the feet of the Rockdale left wing back, right in front of the committee, who are there in colour, if not full voice tonight. Chalakian trying to give them something to cheer about again, dancing along the penalty area. Marconi did well to challenge fairly. He's already won them one kick from the penalty spot tonight. Speranza for Orgla, face to face with Bernie. Two prodigious youngsters going head to head. And Bernie wins out. Misplaced pass. Well, he did initially. He fell straight back to Ali Orgla. Speranza. He and Rashuto, the older heads. Still full of running, though. Speranza with a misplaced ball, not for the first time tonight. Hasn't been as tidy in his distribution as we often expect him to be. Nikolovsky put in an awkward position, did well to clear. Griffiths for True. And again, there's just these moments where they break clear. Chimenti's in behind! And might have struck the winner for Marconi! Off the bench! What a big goal that is for Kyle Chimenti! What a big goal for Marconi! The midfield arm wrestle falls the way of the visitors. And just as Meyer did on 17 minutes, Kyle Chimenti kept his cool and slid the ball under Soros. Beautiful bit of build-up work. True chasing back. The ball squeezed in behind Rockdale's defence, who had held on so gamely. But again, this game has followed its flow in terms of where the goals have gone. All three goals scored by the team on top. As marginal as it might have been. Marconi had swung the momentum back in their favour, and Jake True might just have announced himself as a Marconi Stallions player with that little passage of play where his work rate won out. Just over 10 minutes for Rockdale to find another equaliser. They're a team full of characters, and they come together and show a collective character as they did in the first half. And Paul D and Pani Nikas can wait no longer. A triple sub to come, led by the experience of Chris McStay, followed by the exuberant youth of Hunter Elliott and Bray Ovens, who has so often been the key. The end of the night for Urashevsky, who got his goal from the penalty spot, but wasn't able to contribute too much else. The clear chance that fell his way in the second half, well saved in a one-on-one with Hilton, and already Ovens is giving Marconi headaches. He has got the magic touch at the minute. Not on the field for 10 seconds. And he almost forces an error that leads to Rockdale's equaliser. That ball could have gone anywhere. Thankfully for Marconi, it deflected wide of Hilton's net. And so he takes no risks this time and just sends it down the other end. Why not with the goal advantage given to them by the substitute, Kyle Chimenti. Ball over the top. Daniel dragged down the fresher legs of Elliott as he looked to get away. And there's a wind of complaint, but quickly taken over. Daniel, the 20-year-old, taking down the 21-year-old Elliott. McStay likes to get over these dead ball situations, but he's taken this one short. Didn't look fully fit, I thought, last weekend, Chris McStay. That's the shortest stint will suit him. Poor ball from Elliott. Didn't reach its intended target. Speranza and then Danzo kept it alive before it was thrust clear by Bayliss. Orgla wins possession back for Rockdale, who are chasing this game for the second time tonight. Danzo for Orgla. And now Chalakian. ducking inside one. Mlinaric, or in fact Vela, with a captain's challenge on the edge of the area. McStay. Nikolovsky trying to step through midfield. Beautifully timed challenge on Ovens by George Daniel, and this time Chimenti, or in fact Sir Kennis, can't time his run. And so you feel this is the pattern that will dominate the final 6 or 7 minutes. Marconi well set in their defensive structure. They were the league's best defence a year ago. Now trying to hold on to the lead they've been given by Kyle Chimenti at one of the toughest places to visit in the competition. James Bayliss has been doing all the stuff that doesn't paint pictures on a stat sheet or live in the memory as a fine midfield performance, but boy has it been important. Allglass sliding to make sure Marconi couldn't clear. You feel that will delay it just for a moment. Calls from the committee for a corner, waved away. And so their hope of a winner slips just a little further. It was Marconi who were dropping points early a year ago, and it proved to be the difference for Rockdale come the back end of the year. Ilinden do drop all 3 points here. And that would give them an early gap to chase. A long way from the end of things, but a interesting first chapter. And when Blake Risciuto is doing things like that, you know it's just not quite going right for Rockdale. So uncharacteristic. Bit of skill in that area of the pitch, which was not called for in that situation. I think Blake would acknowledge as much. Still, Peter Sekenis has more options on his bench as well. Mate Busek was so impressive on the opening weekend. In the half hour or so, he had to run up Blacktown City's defence through the red card from Jared McKinley with 10 minutes to go. So the former Coastie set to make his entrance. What has turned into a cool but quite mild Saturday evening. 2 hands in the back of Bayliss, or in the back of McStay from Bayliss, I should say. Nikolovsky assesses his options. Elliott ahead of Daniel this time. Well reeled in by Ovens. And still they were going at it on the ground, Elliott and George Daniel. There's a decision to make here again, not for the first time tonight for Craig Fisher. And the Marconi players are less than impressed with Hunter Elliott, and Sekenis has been pulled into it. It's all kicking off. Franco Meyer's got to be careful. He's already been booked. There's a number of players in this little schoolyard scrap that could find themselves walking down the tunnel a little early if they're not very, very careful. All sparked by Hunter Elliott and George Daniel coming together while they were entangled on the turf. Braden Sorge has come all the way from the other side of the field to get involved. Franco Meyer similar. Still Daniel resumes his night to his feet with a wry smile with the physio. Seemingly happy with his work there. Hunter Elliott was dragged into that all very unnecessarily. And the red card is out of Craig Fisher's pocket. And it's Hunter Elliott's night who is over. Hunter Elliott sent from the field less than 10 minutes after being brought on for a coming together on the ground with George Daniel. The 21-year-old's night was very, very short indeed. And Rockdale's odds just get a little bit worse. They're down to 10. And amongst all that, it was the only card that came out of Craig Fisher's pocket. It's a consequential one, but you feel it might just be little note down the bottom of the match report because Marconi already hold this 2-1 lead. Perhaps a smart bit of timing from Peter Sekenes to remove Franco Maya, who was so brilliant tonight. Got the opening goal, again at the heart of their key attacking movement. Got himself booked, almost just to add to the theatre of it all. Now takes his bow. It's the youngsters who are going to be left to see it out for Marconi. Mate Busek was just speaking about before the red card. He's made a very, very promising start to his life at the Marconi Stallions after his transfer in the middle of last season from the Central Coast Mariners. Orgla scrapping his way through a forest of blue shirts. True again lending a hand defensively. He has been as good going backwards as he has forwards, and Hilton launches that one into the creek that runs alongside the Ilinden Sports Centre. That'll be the end of that ball tonight, I think. Nikolovsky, we've got 2 balls on the field now. This is all getting very, very messy. Yeah, and Busek, who had his run cut short by Risciuto after the whistle had gone. Keep your eyes on all of this. Firm words from Sekenes on the sideline, from Lenaric in midfield, all while Damien Sekenes is lying prone on the turf because he was the one who went into the heaviest of the collisions, I think with his opposite number. Marconi are only moments away as long as they keep their heads. Sekenes trying to take the brunt of the frustration by not mincing his words. Fella rather cooler as he comes over to have a conversation with the 4th official and the assistant on the near side. It has been a moment a minute. It has flown by, this game. From Franco Maya's opener on 17 minutes to what looks like Kyle Chimenti's winner with just over 15 to play. Still there is time for another twist in the tail if Rockdale can go and grab it. Bray Ovens nearly did when he was brought on. Managed to block James Hilton's clearance, which passed whiskers wide of his post. But still, Marconi's lead has held. And for the moment, they are leaving the Ilinden Sports Centre with all 3 points. What will be a very happy night for them and their travelling supporters who have made themselves known throughout the 90 minutes. Big game with a lot on the line, and they have played up to the occasion, both sets of players. There we go. The word is 4 minutes through for the stoppages that have been not too infrequent in this second half. Lenaric away. Risciuto returning the favour. Vella lobbing it over the top. Busek's got fresh legs and he's got plenty of speed. All Giorgio Speranza can do is hook it out of play, and it's down the wrong end for the host now. Marconi will take every second they're allowed. One last roll of the dice for Rockdale Ilinden. Brendan Chalakian, who won the penalty just before the break, sees his night end. And it's a young startlet, Jordan Gradowski, signed from Sutherland Sharks, still just 16 years of age, making just his 2nd appearance for his new club. All been these short substitute appearances. Turns 17 on Wednesday. Scrapping for it is Daniel. Just never runs short on energy. A tangle with Sorge, far the more experienced. Centering header from True gave Risciuto issues. Bayliss interchanging passes with Vella very nicely. And Jake True deserves a goal for his work tonight. Looked to be unselfish, and a corner will do just nicely for Marconi. Jake True's best performance in Marconi colours to this point. As much for his work rate as the quality of his final product. He has covered every blade of artificial turf down both flanks tonight. And Marconi content to keep it in the corner now. Rockdale's job to win it off them. Sekenes fires it into Sorge, and they'll do it all again. Big win coming up for Marconi. This will jump them right up the table to the top of it. They play it square. Chimenti's already got one tonight. It's his goal that separates us. Risciuto timed that challenge well. One last chance to break, you feel, for Rockdale. McStay held up by Bernie and then turning it over to Busek. And then winning it back. Tip your cap to Chris McStay. He stayed with it. Ovens ducking inside. There's space on the right for Auglar. Ball rolls agonizingly slowly. Still Auglar's got the magic in those boots to create something. He ducks towards the byline. Pursued by two Marconi players. Make that three. And nicked off him by Sekenes. Bundles him over with a hip. And keeps the ball alive. Sorge diving in. It spills for Nikolovsky. Danzo edge of the box. What's he got? Oh, it's behind everyone in red. And Marconi, that might be their match-winning throw. A check of the watch from referee Fisher. It's anyone's guess now how long we've got to play. Bernie taking his time over the throw. Why wouldn't he? So he's still to be unbeaten in his first three games. Off the shoulder is Sekenes. He timed his run, and that will do. A big cheer greets the final whistle from the Marconi Stallions. Boy, did they have to fight for it. They took the lead on 17 minutes through Franco Meyer. A lovely slide rule pass converted by the winger before Rockdale got the equaliser 5 minutes before the break. Alek Urasevsky converting from the spot after Brendan Chalakian had been felled. And then it was the substitute, Kyle Chimenti. A great story after he's been dogged by injury for the best part of 2 seasons. Off the bench to play hero with 15 minutes to play. And so it's Marconi who lead the early season table in the NPL NSW. Thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday night. A gripping match of the round which lived up to the expectation and gave us more than a few storylines, with Hunter Elliott sent from the field 10 minutes from time. And so Marconi leave here smiling. Alex Molchanov signing off on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Hope you'll join us for our 2 matches tomorrow. But it's finished here at the Ilinden Sports Centre. Rockdale Ilinden 1, Marconi Stallions 2.
Simico Partners Taxation and Advisory Services. Marco Polo Foods, fine foods from across the sea. Dual Core Packaging. Glad Group. Pino's Dolce Vita Fine Foods. NPL Customs and Compliance. Our silver sponsors. Langman Simmons and George. Sydney Wire Building Supplies. SCIS Property Group. Sydney Civil. Bella Transport. EMC Civil. Superboom Australia. GMP Law Solicitors and Barristers. Riverosky Catering Equipment Warehouse. Cityview Group. Kenny Constructions. Chemist Hub at Rockdale. Unthinkable Cuts, Bay Street, Brighton Sands. Ricks Group. Specialist Contracting. Niji Sushi Bar. Zoomwave Constructions. Audrey Australia. Level 33 Developers. Vortex Property Group. East to West Plant Services. Glacier Scaffolding. HT Wheels. Broad Air. William Roberts Lawyers. BA Architecture. Tempe Tires. Chinese Cocktails and Back Row West. Atcall Services. B&B Bricklaying. Direct Inject. Mar Consulting. Fruit Easy. Borgia Cranes. Also thank our club suppliers. KST Buses. AV Ace Audio Visual. Our 2025 apparel partners, Stano. We'd also like to thank all our ground signage holders as well. Support those who support Rockdale.